it. And then the Mark Levine one, Anya and Anne sent me the screenshot, and so I posted something on there. It's always a little tricky with some of the things the league does of what you post, because it isn't like your personal thing. So just trying to figure out the wording on that, but I think I got it. And then I think we got like retweeted and shared from the Mark Levine thing, which is good, by the people involved, and I think by his page and all of that. So that all increases our visibility of what we're doing. And like, I just took a note about that AB 67. So you can talk, I'll ask you a little more about that. So if I see that on Twitter or something, I can, retweet something if it's what we think is a good idea, that type of thing.
Right. Well, thank you. Great. Okay. I'm just going to take a second to move on to something. As we've said, this is a new committee. We're just getting our feet wet in trying to put together who are we, what are we about, what are our goals, what are our priorities and such. But in that context, I think from my experience being in other committees and such, it's important to kind of have some guiding principles, so to speak. So I just want to put up here what we're calling for now our operating principles and practices. And we'll talk more about these in a future meeting. Right now, it's kind of like food for thought. And the point being, we want to be collaborative and work as a team as we move forward and understand and learn about climate change and what we need to do, not just in regards to climate change, but in working together with respect and honesty. And that we have a shared purpose, that we all are clear on where we're going and what we want to accomplish. We're all going in the same direction. And action oriented. Certainly, we have this can-do attitude and we want to do something and have a shared purpose. This first year is going to be a lot about learning more than doing. But at the same time, I think we can, as they say, walk and chew gum at the same time. And I think we have some ideas at how we can do while we're learning. And with this, just to keep in mind some important practices, and one, assume good intentions. I think everybody's, doing the best they can and coming up with ideas and wanting to get involved. And sometimes it may rub someone the wrong way. And I think it's just good to start from the place of assuming good intentions on the part of anybody as to where they're coming from. To keep things simple, let's not overcomplicate things, but also important to play your own position. So if you're take on a certain responsibility of a project or something we're working on, or if you're not, just to stay in your own lane and not try to take over for what somebody else is supposed to be doing. And I think really important, seek first to understand and then to be understood. So I'm just putting that out there as food for thought. We're going to include all of our slides with the minutes, so you'll have those to look at. The other thing that we want to look at is the power of partnering. We don't have to do this ourselves, and we don't have to, whatever this is. There are a lot of organizations in Marin, particularly, who already are doing climate change initiatives. And so we're not looking to duplicate what's already being done, but rather find where there are partnering opportunities, where the voice of the league can help be supportive to them and vice versa. So before we go forward, any comments along this line of what I'm talking about? Nothing to add? Kate?
Yeah. I'm fairly new to the League of Women Voters, and I'm an active board member of Marin Conservation League. And so I am seeking to understand, as we negotiate our positions at MCL, how to contribute to the league's conversation about things. I'm also attending the oh, sorry, wait, hold on for a second.
Can't hear Kate very well.
We will be able to in a minute.
Sorry about that. My microphone is failing. So I just mentioned that I'm a board member of Marin Conservation League, and I'm relatively new to the league, and I'm seeking to understand how to participate in the conversation, and stay in my lane. Basically, I might hold some positions that are different than the league's positions in terms of I'm really worried about streamlining of CEQA, for example, and how that plays out in development proposals, including housing and transportation projects and things like that. So my challenge is to contribute and know how I interact with the league while still staying active in my own role. So I just wanted to say that.
And Kate, knowing the work that you do, and your voice is really important. I'm so glad that you're joining us. I'm amazed you have time to do this. Absolutely, Marin Conservation League, also, particularly through the Climate Action Working Group, is where I think that's one of the most beneficial gatherings among all these organizations. And so certainly the league will be attending those meetings on a monthly basis. Right now, we're mostly listening more than speaking, though. We're learning. Most of the people in the league are not nearly as versed in climate change as you or I. And so we need some patience on our part to bring everybody up to speed, to understand what the lay of the land is, and then kind of decide what are the priorities. So, and certainly because the Marin Conservation League focuses on policy, as does the league, I can see a lot of opportunities to have good cross conversation and find out where we're on the same page. If we're not on the same page, in one of the months, you'll hear a little bit later, we're going to spend a meeting talking about what the league's positions are, so that there's a full understanding of where we're coming from on that regard. So thank you. And we look forward to working with you for sure. Okay, just a quick review. Oh, Linda, your turn.
Oh, my turn. Anyway, just in order to get to know each other just a little better and why we're here with each other, if we could go around the room of 12 of us right now. And what we'd like to do is have you share with us a particular direct situation experience that you or a family member have experienced with climate change that has affected your life in some way. And also, what is your hot button when it comes to climate change? I'll start off.
Linda, just real quick. Also, would you all introduce yourselves? Most of us know everybody, but everybody doesn't know somebody, whatever that's saying. Yeah. So also just preface it by introducing yourself real quickly. I do want to just real quick, Anya Bodine McCoy has joined us. She is our intern. Anya, glad to have you join us. So I just wanted to take a moment to point out who Anya is. And so Linda, take it away.
Yeah. Hi, Anya.
Hi.
Someday we'll meet in person, maybe.
I
hopefully.
hope so.
Fingers crossed. Anyway, I'll start and we'll end with Nancy. But when I lived in Monterey, Carmel area, I saw firsthand how the erosion was eating away at the beaches and everything. I was there only a few years, and the beach must have lost yards and yards of beach in the short time that I was there. And that was the one really awakening for me of how drastic climate change, which was known as climate change at that point, was on our environment. And that kind of set off in me like, oh my God, what's happening? I mean, pretty soon, Nevada is going to have beachfront property. So anyway, that's my firsthand experience. And my hot button is food waste. I'm not a vegetarian or a vegan or anything, but I do try to eat as little meat as I can because of the environment, but also I'm an active volunteer for Extra Food, who maybe some of you are familiar with that. And we rescue food that is going to be tossed, basically given to the pigs. And some of it, I mean, I won't go into Extra Food. It's a fantastic organization, and you should know it if you don't. Anyway, but food waste, and it's so important for our environment, not only to get that food to people who really need it, but also to protect our environment. So with that, I will go to Doug. There we go.
Okay, so I'm Doug Cooper, and well, I don't know what to tell you. As far as personal experience, I'll just tell you that the most recent months, or even for the last year, with so much delivery coming by mail or whatever, it just really ticks me off how much cardboard and also styrofoam I have to get rid of every week. It's so wasteful, and we have to develop a better system of delivering products and having the delivery people take away whatever they had wrapped it in. There's got to be a way to do that. That's all.
Okay, Annie, how about you?
I joined the League of Women Voters on my 21st birthday, which was when I registered to vote. I was raised in a family very much involved with women getting the 19th Amendment. And it was mostly those kind of issues that I have associated with the League. So then all these other was a revelation to me that how much else that the League was taking on instead of more beyond elections. So I think I'm one of the oldest members of our League. I'll be 84 next month. Okay. But anyway, it feels as if it's been lifelong. I also, as far as the environment is concerned, I come from a family of birders, ardent birders, book writing birders. So that had a tremendous influence on me.
I bet. Any hot button?
Oh, hot button. I think what happens to elections is my hot button up.
Okay. Now I'm going to mess this name up. Is it Maika?
Hi, everybody. So yeah, Micah here, or Micah Blue Whale, my nature name. And I wear a couple of hats. So I already mentioned that I'm the executive director at the Sly Ranch. And also I am the new council member for City of San Rafael. So I just joined in December. And yeah, climate change. Oh, thank you. So I've been a member of the League, I don't know, for a couple of years, and I'm very happy that there is an independent place, to take care of everything related to everything that is going on in the world. But I'm extremely happy about the fact that you have this new committee for climate change. So I see climate change every day in my life, especially affected by the fires and the air quality, where we have to cancel the programs with our kids. I'm originally from Madrid, from Spain, and my brother just experienced the biggest snowstorm they have ever experienced, like ever. So it's everywhere. So there are so many things that, that, how do you say, that tickle me, or, that gets my wires crossed. But I think probably the biggest one is just the effect in the weather and the fires. I think probably that's, yeah. Okay. So thank you.
Okay. Thank you. And Batman? Unmute.
Muted. You're muted.
Unmute. Oh, there we go. Okay.
Right. I'm a little slow on my laptop because I don't like to use this little pad thing. One of my biggest concerns is sea level rise, because I live on Corte Madera Creek, and it's there. And so our area will be affected by that. So that's really one of my big concerns. And right now, I think it's really ironic that we are having one of the driest years we've had in a long time, as far as no rain. And the Pacific Northwest is having huge snowstorms, and they've had an extremely wet winter. So something's awry here. So those are my things that I'm worried about.
Thank you. And Lynn? Dooley.
That's me. Hi, I'm Lynn Dooley. Figure out how to unmute. So personal experience is that wherever I am, the temperature is at least 10 to 20 degrees hotter or colder than it was 10 years ago. And the fires in California have just really made an impact on, I think, everyone's health, as well as just, as far as a hot button, the fires scare me to death. And I really think that between fire and water, those are the most important things. But my hot button is plastic. Plastic pisses me off. I really, really hate that everything is wrapped. I'm telling you, everything is wrapped and packaged, 4 and 5 and 6 layers, and there's no process for getting rid of it. And I live in Hawaii, and it's in the oceans. Every time I get in the ocean, I see just enormous amounts of plastic. So that is my hot button, and I really appreciate the opportunity to learn more about how I might do something about that.
And you're not even in Honolulu, so
oh, right,
really
I'm in a deserted place, really. So
yeah, wow. Thank you, Lynn. Ann Wakely.
Oh goodness, it's just hard to know where to begin
I know,
when we're talking about climate change. I think the first thing that sprang to mind when you said that was, to me, loss of species. And it just is so upsetting to me that what we're doing to this earth is resulting in species disappearing. But connected to that, what really upsets me is that human beings are having this enormous effect every single day and everything they do on the earth, the climate. And there are an awful lot of people that just don't get that at all. And there's a term, I think it's Anthropocene, to describe the geologic age that we're in right now. Is that what it is, Doug?
It's the now I can't say it, Anthropocene. Geez, I could say it when I was.
Yeah, I think it's,
She got it right.
Anthropocene. Anthropocene.
Yeah. Anyway, we need to know this. We need to think about this. So I think it's so big. We should make a list.
It'd go on forever.
It would go on forever. Anyway.
That's right.
Thank you, Anne. And Robin, how about you?
I didn't know if you wanted to do introductions. I'm on the board and I lead our administrative part of our voter service, not the actual work. I do a lot of the administrative stuff to lead that part. And then I work on our website with Scott McCown, who's here, and I sort of took over our social media for the election last year, since we were all stuck at home, and that was the best way to communicate. So I'm here for that, mostly to be able to help with the website and social media. As far as climate change myself, it isn't that I'm not interested, but I may not come to a lot of the meetings. But for me, I come from a science family and environmentally oriented and interested and aware my whole life pretty much. But I guess the two things that are hardest for me is coming from a science family we understand that human beings are animals, and that always drives me crazy when people talk about animals and people, that people are animals. People are part of the world. We're part of the ecosystem. We're not necessarily anything special, except for that we can really mess stuff up. And so the lack of, I guess, science, it's not just awareness, it's actual education, like understanding. And then my latest hot button issue is actually the pandemic. Is that I've read some things that climate change can has induced pandemics and will continue. And I don't know that there's been much press about that. And so I'm always looking forward. I'm not only looking getting past this pandemic. I'm like, but I heard there's going to be more. Are we getting ready? Like, I'm that kind of person. So I really want to help amplify Linda, Nancy, and the whole committee's message. And I just, in my core, know that it's important every single day in so many ways.
Thanks, Robin. You know, you have to stop slacking off, though. You're not doing enough to support the league or anybody else. Kate, how about yourself?
So I live in San Rafael. I've been involved with MCL, as I said, for about 6 or 7 years now, but also volunteered for the Environmental Forum and for the Glenis Watershed, which is where I live. My most personal impact from climate change has been my concern for the soil in my yard and the diminishing amount of wildlife that I see in my yard, in terms of birds and in terms of insects. When the drought came, I stopped watering a lot of things that I felt should be okay on their own, including natives, and have found that with the lack of moisture, that even natives suffer. And I think that they're really, that our local, even in urban areas, that we need to locally support biodiversity through insects as a food source, and birds and mammals in a suburban or urban environment. So that's my personal impact. And then how to balance water supply and protecting the soil, and all of that is something I'm trying to wade through on a personal basis. But I have to say, also, my hot button is waste, and all of the waste that has been increased due to COVID. But also, I'm helping take care of my elderly parents right now, and realize that there's certain periods in our lives where we use a lot of disposable products for convenience, more when we have less ability to have more agency in our decision making and our actions. So while I'm taking care of my parents, I'm creating a lot of waste that I feel terrible about it, in terms of personal hygiene products and things like that. And so that's just, I don't see a way out of it. And I think on a national level, the plastics prevention, pollution prevention, legislation and things, and then learning how to influence and advocate for implementation of those types of policies on a local level will be important.
Great, thank you. And Anya.
Hi, I'm Anya. I'm a senior at HS 1327, and I am in a program called CDISC, which is an environmental science and social justice academy. So we combine our social studies class with AP environmental science, and so and it's all project-based learning. So currently we're in a project learning about population growth and how to reduce population growth in like a sustainable way, and realizing how humans affect the environment. And so every time every time someone introduced themselves on this meeting, I was like, oh, I'm going to agree with that. I'm going to say that one too. Like everyone said something that I truly agree with. Sula, I just saw a TikTok about the way a lot of like drugstores just throw food away in the dumpsters. And I've seen this person who like has committed their life to dumpster diving, and a lot of the stuff they find in these dumpsters hasn't even expired yet. So they clean them and donate them. But it's really, really sad that these major corporations just throw it away, and all the plastic too. And then something that's I find very interesting and something I've noticed is I recently learned that the term carbon footprint was coined by BP to turn the conversation away from them and put the responsibility onto the consumer instead. And so it was like a very successful marketing campaign, because all of a sudden people took responsibility for their actions, which is very important. But people stopped realizing that it's the petroleum companies that are actually doing most of the major polluting. And while I think it's important to hold yourself responsible, it's also important to acknowledge that it's the major corporations that are doing the majority of all the polluting on the planet, which can get a little depressing when you think about it. But personal responsibility is also really important. And then a hot button issue for me is environmental racism, and like the intersectionality between environmentalism and social justice, like I'm learning in school, and how badly Indigenous people are experiencing most of climate change.
Interesting. Thank you. And Scott?
Well, my hot button issue is the same as Lynn: plastic everywhere, packaging, and that's kind of a local issue. We can do our part and deal with it and lobby to reduce that flow. But the big picture item that really frightens me is the climate change that's melting the glaciers, for instance, and its effect on population migration. Because the geopolitical impact of huge migrations from, let's say, from India, Pakistan, because the Indus River is going to dry up when the glaciers are all melted, and nobody will be able to farm or have enough water. So, that is one of the major things that I just kind of monitor and look at. Some of the bigger programs that people like Bill Gates and others are trying out to alleviate that problem. And that's about all I have to say about that at the moment.
Thanks, Scott. And Nancy, well.
Oh, okay. You know, I didn't have an environmental bone in my body till 2009. Before that, I was working. Didn't have time for all this other stuff. But since then, it has been top of mind for me. Climate change has been the top. And I have to say, from the beginning, plastics has been on the top of my list of pet peeves, or more so. And I've done a lot to cut plastic out of my life. Not succeeded completely, but you know, when I shop, I don't buy something that's in a plastic container. I'll buy what's in the glass container. However, speaking to what Kate said, right now, you know, it's your choices just aren't the same, particularly if you're having stuff delivered. And as Doug said, all this packaging. So unfortunately, plastic is really, really convenient. It's great stuff, but what it's doing to our environment is horrific. And you know, there was a time when we lived without it, or when we did have it initially, we didn't understand the implications. Well, now we do, so we're doing it intentionally. So plastics is definitely one of my hot buttons, along with sea level rise. My personal experience was in 2014, I think it was. I get my years mixed up. We had a big storm. It was winter. No, it was after 2014. Anyway, I live in the condos above the Buckeye restaurant. So I go down the hill through Marin City to get on the freeway, and the pond there backed up. The pumps weren't working, overflowed across Highway 1. I was in San Rafael at the time. I couldn't come home. I called home and my husband said, don't even try. I could not come home for over 4 hours because the freeway was blocked. So when people talk about, oh, I live on top of a hill, or I live inland, so sea level rise isn't an issue for me. Yes, it is. It's an issue for all of us. That's where our sewer systems are and our roadways and the landfill. I mean, there's so many implications that sea level rise has for all of us, no matter where we live. So between plastics and sea level rise, I can really get my heart going. so okay, I think that's for me.
Yep,
Thank you for
wraps it up.
sharing. That was great. This is a way to get to know each other better. I know it takes time, but you know, we've got time and right now to dig a little deeper. So thank you all for sharing. I really appreciate that. Let me take a little quick moment to share with you what our day looks like, or where's my screen share, what the rest of this meeting is going to include. So hold on just a second while I bring this up. Come on. Okay, so we've already had our opening remarks and we've talked about our personal experiences with climate change. So we're going to take some time now to kind of look at the year 2021 from a very high level, and kind of what Linda and I have laid out as what the year could look like for us, with plenty of opportunity for discussion. Nothing is ground in stone. Everything is totally flexible and subject to change. We also, this committee is hosting the April 5th monthly member meeting. So we want to talk more about where we are with that. We have to have this figured out by the end of the week because we want to put an article in the New Voter, which will come out early March. So we have till this week to get our details figured out. So we'll share with you where we are with that. And then also talk about what will be happening between now and our next meeting. So at this point, I'm going to throw it back to Linda, and she's going to start off talking about our year-long planning.
Right. So I mentioned earlier that we presented our committee goals at the program planning meeting last week. So just wanted to review those with you real quickly.
Working on it.
Okay, there we go. It'll just be real quick because we've talked about this before. I just wanted to remind you that at this point in time, we just need to educate ourselves about the climate change and all the related issues. There's so many issues out there, and myself and probably a number of you are starting out on level 1, and there's about 100 levels. So when I talked to Nancy, I realized how much I don't know. So and it becomes more and more all the time, but with more education by bringing people in, we'll all be able to understand things a little better. And also our goal is to gain understanding of local Marin County climate issues and who the players are. And we will be reviewing that in our monthly meetings more so we can gain that understanding that we need to, when we do set what we need to go to proceed on this. So let me go over what we're thinking about for our meetings and the formatting. So as you know, each meeting is an hour and a half long. We wanted to make the first 45 minutes with our speaker. Invite an outside speaker in. It'll be topic focused. It'll be recorded, open to all members, and that includes anybody you want to bring into the meeting besides the obvious. And it'll be posted on our YouTube channel and website for Marin County. Does anybody have any other suggestions on that or comments? It's hard to say with the slide up. So
I have a comment.
Okay. Anne.
I think it's really important to get the speaker information out to the whole membership and not just the committee.
Okay.
Do we not want to do that?
Yeah, can you hear me? This is
Yes.
Nancy. Okay, I didn't know if you know when you're screen sharing, you don't know if your mic, oh, there it is on. And so everybody, when we say open to all members, we don't mean members of the committee, we mean members of the league.
Okay,
So the
Yeah.
first 45 minutes of our meetings will be open to anybody and non-members who might be invited. You know,
okay,
the challenge will be how to get the word out to everybody, and we're working on that. But absolutely, Anne, it's, while we're educating ourselves in the committee, we might as well open it up to others. So that's the plan for the first 45 minutes.
right. And remember that we do, you know, we can do e-blasts.
E-blasts, yeah.
Don't have to wait for.
Okay, Linda.
Nancy,
Yeah.
Nancy and Linda, you could also in the member calendar on the website, you could put some sort of, short note next to each of your meetings, something about that. Again, of course, you have to figure out how to follow up. But I mean, putting it somewhere in there, and then also that member news, Scott. It's a blog, and Scott can just put little notices in there. You don't have to have some sort of official thing. You can just tell him what you want in there, and he can put that there. So there are some ways on the website, sort of informally or not with a lot of effort, be able to put some of that information on there, and people won't see it right away, but after a while of reminding them, they will get the hang of it.
Yeah, exactly. So we do definitely plan to use the website, social media, whatever, to get the word out there. And as you said, Robin, it's just going to take time for the word to get out that this is what we're doing. And so we're just going to be patient with it and see how it goes. Linda's going to go over with you in just a minute what we've outlined for each month in general as far as topics go. So you'll get to see kind of where we're going with this. Linda, go ahead.
Okay, and then the last 45 minutes will just be our, for our committee, and discuss what we just listened to. If anybody has comments, it'll be a general session that will discuss a varied assortment of subjects. Nothing specific other than things for the committee.
Well, and I'll get into that after Linda talks about topics. I'll talk more about what that committee work would entail.
Yes, sure. Okay, next slide, please.
Oh.
So we're gonna just kind of review with you what we're looking at this point. It's very flexible and subject to change. We do have our March meeting confirmed with our guest speaker. It's going to be Diz Swift, who is the league's U.S. and California climate change person. She's on a team, co-chair of the U.S. team, and she's chair of the task force for the state. So she'll be able to give us the big picture and how everything's laying out. And I personally am really looking forward to that, because it'll give everybody a great perspective on climate change in itself. So, and then in April, it'll be the League and climate change. So we'll be doing a little bit more of a deep dive into that. And then in May, June, and July, we're going to do a 3-part, because there's so much to cover. And in May, we'll do an overview of what's happening in Marin. In June, we'll do the Marin's report card. And then in July, we'll look at all the players involved, and there are lots of them. So we'll all be learning, a steep learning curve on that one. August, we'll take a break, no meeting at this point. You never know if we have a lot of stuff to talk about. We just might add something there if people want it. September, impacts on Marin, wildfires, drought, as we've just talked about, as Lynn has mentioned. Those are 2 really big factors going on right now. Now that wildfires is a 12-month-a-year issue. So October, it'll be sea level rise and flooding. And in November, governance, legislative process, what we can do, what we need to do. And in December, we'll assess what we've done for the year and look ahead to 2022, putting together plans and going forward on that. So any anybody's comments, ideas, critical issues.
Sounds great.
I'm wowed.
You're wowed?
I'm wowed, right? About how
I just-
thoughtful this has been.
Yeah, we already, everything's always constantly changing, but I think that's a good overview. And
And
And I-
again, we mentioned that we're going to include these slides with the minutes so you can see the list that we just put up there. And just remembering it's a start. We talked about this year is our educating ourselves, because we really have to understand the lay of the land before we can decide, well, let's focus on this or focus on that.
Mhm.
So this is how we saw it might make sense to lay it out. The reasons you see wildfires, drought, sea level rise, and flooding specifically is those are the 4 major climate change impacts on Marin County. Now, by the time we get there, who knows, we might be looking at something different, but that seemed to be a logical way to go about it, is look at what the major impacts are for Marin. We may change our mind before we get there. So just know, again, this is very flexible, subject to change. And in each case, we're going to try to bring in an outside speaker who can speak to these topics and give us a little bit more insights of what's going on. Diz Swift will be great next month. She was a member of the Marin League. She's over in Berkeley. And she really knows her stuff when it comes to climate change in so many different ways. So you'll be hearing and seeing more of Diz as we move forward. Any other comments?
And also all the meetings, we are going to be sending a generic Zoom invite out. It won't even be an invite. It will just be a Zoom connection. No registration will be necessary. We're doing that so you can forward that to anybody you want to forward it to, so they can join the speaker part of the series if they'd like. So, and we can keep track of membership when the meeting actually starts, of the participants. And does that sound good to everybody?
I have a question. So about on these meetings, you're saying that it's open to all of the membership. And then you said, you can invite a friend. If we put it on social media, not to brag, but we have a lot of followers. And you could get like a lot of the public. So I guess that, my thought would be to not promote the event ahead of time on social media. However, if you want to take a screenshot later and I can promote that you had the speaker, we learned a lot about whatever from so-and-so, to just sort of promote it. That'd be probably the way you want to start. And then you could decide if you want other people. I probably wouldn't send out a Zoom link to the public.
No.
But you can decide about that as far as social media. I'll probably do the after, and then you can decide later on if you want to add the before.
Well, it will be recorded, so you can refer people in the after.
Speaker
To the YouTube channel.
Yeah,
Exactly.
Yeah.
So Robin, we're going to set up a separate meeting with you so we can commiserate about all these different promotional opportunities and what will work where
Sure.
and how. Okay. So
But do take some screenshots. People love the Zoom screenshots. That's very popular.
Okay. Okay. Great.
Just need permission, but you do have to get permission for those.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So now I'm going to take a few minutes to talk about what our committee work might look like, that second half of our meetings. So in addition to, a little discussion about the speaker and what was discussed, this is our opportunity to walk and chew gum at the same time, in that we are going to be learning a lot, but we also need to have some doing going on here. And this isn't limited to certain things, but some ideas might be. And what we would like to put forward is asking the committee members, based on the town you live in, find out what your city or town council is up to in regards to climate change. What initiatives do they have going? What's the conversation? And next month, report back to us what you learned about what's going on where you live. This also could pertain to your board of supervisors. Like my board of supervisors is Stephanie Moulton Peters. And I know Stephanie's very involved in climate change stuff. So I, would be reporting back to you what she's focusing on in conjunction with the rest of the supervisors. I live in the unincorporated area of Marin. I don't have a city or a town council. I only have the board of supervisors. So Stephanie is basically my go-to person. But someone, Linda, where do you live? And who are your?
I'm in Green Bay. It's unincorporated, but it's part of Larkspur. This side of Sir Francis Drake, the Bon Air Shopping Center side, is part of Larkspur. The other side of Sir Francis Drake is straight unincorporated. Very convoluted.
We are incorporated, and we are the city of Larkspur.
Yeah, the city of Larkspur, but where I am in, but
So
yeah.
for you and Ann, it would be the Larkspur town? Are they town or city? I get them mixed up, council. And Katie Rice.
Mm-hmm. Yes, and Katie
Katie's your
Rice.
supervisor.
Right.
So to take some time next month, and you might tell us what's going on in your neighborhood. Doug, you're in Fairfax, right?
Yep, Fairfax. So, Fairfax has its own climate change committee or whatever they call it.
Always has stuff going
They're
on.
very, very busy.
Yeah.
The town council is busy on its own, and then there's of course the committee, and then it's Katie Rice again. Plenty going on.
Yeah. And Robin, what about? Well, you're not really going to be involved in this. I'm not going to expect that because you're busy. Anya, where do you?
Oh yeah, I live in San Anselmo, and I am also on the San Anselmo Climate. Well, we used to call it the Sustainability Commission, and that's like a town commission, but we just renamed, and we are now the Climate Crisis Commission. Because,
I like that.
Sustainability was a little. It's not really about sustainability anymore. It's kind of about like crisis management
Survival.
Yeah, at this point. And it's really great. We just elected a couple, I think, well, first of all, Alexis Feynman is on the town council, and she comes to every commission meeting. She was endorsed by the Sierra Club. She handmade all her own signs out of old signs. She's really cool. And she's young too. I think she's like early 20s or something. And so she is awesome. And so San Anselmo is doing a really great job.
Get her to join the league.
Oh my gosh, I will actually talk about it. We have a meeting this Monday. I'll ask her.
Yeah.
And who's your supervisor?
I don't know. I don't go that far.
Katie Rice.
Sorry. I am not a good member of the league.
I think it's Katie, wouldn't it be Katie?
I would assume so. Yeah, probably the same.
Kate, what about you? Who's your supervisor?
Damon Connolly is my supervisor, and I live in San Rafael. So Micah is one of the council members, but in my area, Rachel Kurtz, because we have a district, have district representatives now.
Oh, yeah.
Also, Corey Bidoff has been working on climate change for many years, and depending on how you want to structure the Marin, you might want the sustainability coordinators for each of the towns to kind of do a little contribution to what's going on in Marin County. I think that would might be a great way to start. I'm going to have to leave because I have a noon meeting also. I apologize.
Okay, Kate.
Nancy, I'll be back to the next meeting now.
Oh, okay.
Thank you for joining us.
Thank you. Lynn, you're in Sonoma. So,
Yeah, I'm in Sonoma County, but I can do other things.
and it doesn't hurt to know what's going on in Sonoma. In many ways, Sonoma is ahead of Marin County on a lot of their climate actions.
Yeah, okay. I have some friends on the city council, and I can certainly talk to the supervisors there and report and see if there's anything that is unusual happening.
And let me tell you right now, Lynn, hold on, I'm looking for my lists. I got too many lists. For Sonoma, I'm putting together a resource list that we're going to put on our website And certainly for Sonoma, a real important one is the Climate Center.
Okay.
Incredible work that they're doing. Ellie Cohen.
Okay, Ellie Cohen, do you say?
Mhm. Yeah,
Okay.
she's the director.
Also, when I was working with Jackie Dagg on the youth ambassador program, I put together a list of all the city council members and all the supervisors. That email, phone number, I can send that to you if that will be helpful.
That would be great. Thank you.
Yeah, okay.
You can also
And
go to our website under government and find out who your representatives are.
Ah,
There you go. And Batman.
Dan Batman?
We are also building a closer and closer relationship with the leagues to the north of us.
Mm.
And so I
Oh,
think
yeah.
there will be more and more opportunities to
Right.
work with them.
Good.
And Lynn's in the
Climate things.
Sonoma League, so you can,
Yeah, I'm in both, so
Yeah.
I can
And
certainly.
there's the Bay Area League, the regional league, and they actually tend to be very environmentally
Exactly.
oriented on, yeah, almost all their, at first I thought that was their only thing. I think that's just because the people who were running it, that was what they're interested in, but they have a lot of
I
information.
think it's because they focus on regional issues, and the regional issues tend to be very
Environmental, yeah,
You know,
sure.
air, water.
Yeah, that's true.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
Yes.
So when we call these people, do we have a general kind of script as to what you want us to say about the league?
no, we're not suggesting you call these people. We're suggesting
Oh.
that you go to city and town council meetings. I mean, their agendas are published. If there's something on the agenda that is climate related, go sit in on that meeting
Okay.
and find out what they're doing. We're not saying, at this point, we are kind of stealth. We're
Okay.
just in the background trying to get a lay of the land, okay?
Observing, right? You're
Yeah,
asking people to
observing, yeah.
observe and take notes.
Yeah, and you're not getting up and speaking or anything like that. We're not there yet. And
Okay.
also like going to supervisor meetings. So if on the agenda, there's a climate change related issue that's coming up on the agenda, sit in on that part of the, one thing that's nice about Zoom, you know, you can come and go from these meetings and nobody knows you left the room.
Right.
You can also get on the newsletters, the electronic newsletters for
Yeah.
almost every city or town, because I know I've gotten on a lot of those lists. You can also follow them on social media. Honestly, even if you don't like social media, you can follow government agencies and they actually put out really great information. So if you get on those lists, you don't even have to always go to the meetings. You can even find out a lot that way.
Right.
That's a
right.
good idea.
Yeah. Okay. So that's one thing. So speaking of website, Robin,
Mhm.
let me just bring up, oh, share screen. Hold on. Something else to share with you guys. Okay. So we already have some presence on our website. It's not a lot, but we got to start somewhere. So if you go onto our website under for members, committees, what you see on this page is what we have posted on that page about, it's a very general overview about the Climate Change Committee, when we meet, and to contact Linda or me at climate@marinlwv.org to be added to our email list or answer any questions you have. So if you're talking to friends and say, hey, you might want to consider joining the climate committee, send them to this page, you know, and there they'll get all the information that they need to look further into things. So I just want you to know what's on the website now. So there's that. And then also, Robin has created a tab under for members that says committee plans for 2021. And similar to what we're talking about today is just an overview of what our plans are for the year in regards to educating ourselves and getting an understanding of the local issues. So I think it's helpful to know what's on our website and how to send people there, which is marinlwv.org, if they want to learn anything more. So our plan is to, let me stop sharing this. looking ahead, we want to create a bigger presence on our website for the Climate Change Committee. Like, here's some ideas we came up with. Like, it'd be nice to have a glossary of terms. People don't know all these terms, and so maybe we could do that. Inspirations, you know, put up Drew Dellinger's poem, put up Amanda Gorman's poem, or anything that inspires you about climate change. Have a list of resources, you know, different websites people can go to, books, articles, blogs, etc. Just the links. We don't have to put all the information there. What's going on with legislation regarding climate change locally in our county and statewide. So have references there, as well as events like meetings and such that are happening. I mean, I've got a list of like 10 things that are happening in the next month just in Marin County that are about climate change. So we want to get this up on our website. It's not going to happen overnight. We probably want to do it in phases so that we don't drive ourselves crazy. So Linda and I talked about, well, let's call phase 1, whatever that may entail, and have set a goal of have phase 1 up on our website by May 1st. That's all we've had figured out so far. Is there anybody here right now, our crowd is getting smaller, who would like to participate and help out with our website? It's not doing the website, it's gathering the information to put on there. Lynn?
Lynn?
Thank you.
Thank you, Lynn.
I can do that. I can do part of that. I don't have to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll help you with that.
I need your Robin.
What
Yeah,
we'll
I'll
do
help you
is
with that, Lynn.
we'll decide of this, and this. What do we want to get up there first, and how do we make that happen? Anybody else? Got Lynn. I know everybody. This is the thing. We've got to get more members on this committee because we keep getting the same people who are already very busy.
Mhm.
So again, the fact that that information's on the website, talk to your friends and that are interested in climate change. They don't have to be a member of the league. We'll get them in there later. Get them to the meeting. Get them involved. And
Well, and Lynn can send the to send it to me. And honestly, I would just say too is that you just to not feel like you have to be really thorough, because you really can throw a few things up there and people will find it throwing searches, and it's just to get started. I mean, that's what I had to do. And it was hard because I'm a super thorough person. And I know Nancy and Linda are as well. It's hard to not like do everything 150%, and to do it 20% feels really weird, but it's fine. We can just throw up a few events on the community calendar. We have that. As you get more comfortable with the website, I kind of live it every day, so I know it. So Lynn, if you or any of you have something you're like, I think we want to put it on the website, what do you think? I can tell you, I don't have a spot for that, or yeah, I'll put it here. I can put it here, but I need to know a little more, that type of thing. So if you get a minute to just sort of go through and look at our tabs real quick, it'll give you a little better idea. We have an action tab, action and advocacy. And if you look at it, it's very, very simple. It's just I can put little buttons that say, here's a link to do something. So there are ways, or if you want to say, contact your representative about this.
Mhm.
I can link to the information about the thing, and then I can somehow say, get your elected representative information here. I already have a tab on that. So there are ways that we can link this fairly easily. And if you're not sure how you could get it up, just ask me and I'll say, I don't have a place for it, or yeah, I totally can just get that up there, no problem. So don't be afraid to just sort of take a stab at it and throw it out there. It's the Wild West in the internet right now. I mean, people are doing whatever and seeing what works. Doesn't work, we'll do something else.
So we'll be meeting with you, Robin, again on this whole thing, not just
Sure.
how to promote things, but that page, as well as social media and how, if that would fill in. Is there anybody here who knows social media? Anya?
I do.
Yeah, I do not. So Lynn and Anya, you might be good sources for us to help brainstorm along with Robin as to where social media would work well for us. Okay.
Yeah.
And we don't have, as Robin says, we can start small. We don't have to
Yeah.
start big. Okay. All right. So for today's committee work, looking to next month, I'm just asking everybody if you could get up to speed, either looking at minutes, from city town council meetings, supervisor meetings, what's going on in your neighborhood in regards to climate change actions, okay? And report back next month. I have another whole list of what committee work might look like, but we don't need to go into it all today. So I think it's 12:15. Linda, how about we move ahead and talk about the April 5th meeting?
Yep.
That we want to promote. So again, I have another slide. So hold on. Oh,
You know,
big deal.
you know,
There we go.
David Kuhnhart's talking to the Marin Coalition right now.
Oh,
What's
okay.
that?
David Kuhnhart's speaking on climate change to the Marin Coalition,
Ah,
but they make those talks available later. They record them, so
Yeah.
no need to switch meetings.
It all gets overwhelming. David always
Yeah.
talks about climate change.
yes.
That's his thing. Okay,
Anyway.
so Linda is going to take over and talk about our hosting of the April 5th member meeting.
Yeah. So actually, I think everybody knows we're hosting that. And we had talked about, originally we had talked about having a panel discussion with Stephanie McNally being the moderator and she's, a league member and a member of this committee. She's crazy busy right now, so she's not able to be here today. But we've had one of our panelists had to drop out, and then we found out about another opportunity. And so we're
Linda, tell them about who we originally planned on. Or do you want me to-
it was going to be, oh gosh, it was going to, I don't have those names handy.
Yeah,
It was Corey
I
from
can
San
tell you.
Rafael.
So it was climate change through an equity lens. That's our topic. So our original plan was to have Stephanie moderate a panel that included, starting off with Chris Chu from the county, talking about the impact of sea level rise on the bay side of Marin County and the vulnerability assessment that she's been heading up and what's vulnerable and where the issues are. Through an equity lens, we wanted to bring it down to specifics. So we were going to talk specifically about the impacts of sea level rise in San Rafael and Marin City. So Corey Bitoff was going to be our speaker to talk about what they're working on in San Rafael for the canal. And Terry Green was going to be our speaker to talk about what they're doing in Marin City. So two of our most vulnerable areas and their underserved communities and that whole thing. Well, Terry has COVID and really needs to take care of herself. So she had to renege. Meanwhile, last week, Anne Wakely attended the Commission on Aging presentation by Mark Bartolini, which talked a lot about climate change and equity. So this afternoon, Linda and I have an appointment to talk to Mark about being our speaker for the April 5th, in which case we would not have Corey or Chris. So we're in flux. We have to figure this out by Friday to get our article into the voter. So we will have this figured out and we will keep you posted. Sorry, Linda, I just stepped all over you. My apologies. Go ahead.
No, you kind of said it, so go ahead.
Sorry. Okay, let's see, where are we now? So let me just talk a little bit quickly about between now and our next meeting. So in the next few days, we'll send you the minutes, these slides, and also a list of events that are coming up that you might be interested in going to. We'll include that in the minutes. Obviously, we'll have the details for April 5th locked in. You're going to go to your jurisdiction, find out what's happening in your jurisdictions. You're going to work to recruit members for the committee. And then, of course, on March, Diz will be speaking to us at our March 16th meeting. So we actually have 10 minutes. Anything else anybody wants to throw out there?
I want to say how glad I am we don't have to bring food to the monthly meeting.
Yeah, or set the room up or deal with all of that. So that does make it a lot easier.
Sweep the floor and erase the board.
Yeah. So hosting the meeting isn't the deal it used to be. And you need articles by Friday for the voter? Is that right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So our committee will be submitting 2 articles. One, Linda's going to write up about the 5th, and then I'll write the one up that's about our committee in general. And again, encouraging people to join us. So we'll try to put some encouraging details in there.
If we do decide to go with Mark, it'll only be a half page because it's just going to be him and perhaps Stephanie is a moderator, but that's up in the air.
Yeah.
Depending on Mark.
We'll know more after we talk to Mark this afternoon, but we're hoping it's going to work.
We'll put it in the voter, but you will have an opportunity to refine it for the e-blast. That
right.
come up
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great.
The only other thing I think I'd mentioned this before, is to consider how to describe sort of like the league edge, or like what's different about the league studying the climate change. Like, do we have like a unique process or perspective because we study art and we have connections through the league for lobbying, or I don't know, you know what I mean? Like, what's sort of different about our study of climate change versus another group? And I'm not saying you have to justify anything or anything like that, but anything that comes up, what's unique about us studying it, that's great for like social media and other promotions to be able to sort of throw that out, that part. And I'm sort of thinking like right now, like maybe about like how we study issues, and that how we have a network to work at the state level, that type of thing. So just to keep it in mind as you're working on this, what's the sort of unique edge for the league?
I want to make a comment if I can.
And of course.
One of the things about the league is we're nonpartisan. And it will be challenging for us dealing with this issue when we cannot be seen to be endorsing people, elected officials or candidates. So
yeah.
But we do already have climate change positions, correct?
Oh, right. No,
yes,
absolutely.
Our April
and we're getting more of them.
Yeah, our April meeting, that's what it's going to focus on, is the league and climate change. So we'll be talking about what are the positions, national positions, state positions regarding climate change. So everybody's real clear on what we can and can't, talk.
Yeah,
really, there isn't anything that they're not supporting, I can tell you. But
actually, it covers everything.
And climate down, I don't view climate change as a partisan issue, personally.
Yeah.
So I don't, and we're never going to be endorsing a person regarding climate change, as far as I know. So I don't.
Well, and we can work with elected officials. We just can't promote them as a candidate or as a party. So we can work with them as but if they're elected, they're our official. Yeah.
Absolutely.
But we have to be a little careful on social media, though, I have to say. Some of them get a little partisan in their social media. So I have to be a little careful how and when I share some of their stuff. Mike McGuire gets a little loose on his, it gets a little personal. So sometimes I just keep an eye on that. So just know that I do watch that. And Jared Huffman's been really good lately, but he also sometimes goes off, and even Senator Padilla, he's been great too. But there's times when they have to do that, and we just sort of stay clear of those posts.
Right.
So the reason I brought that up was to possibly come up with, once we have that meeting where we've identified what the league's positions are, we might be able to come up with our angle that is unique in presenting this information to the committee and the public.
Well,
and if we had a logo specifically for this committee,
and
I like that idea.
Yeah, a logo and a mission statement.
And a mission, even if it's just 3 words that you attach to the logo, so that when league members see that, they
like a tagline.
Yeah,
that's really big now. Yep, absolutely. All about the marketing and branding.
Yeah,
I like the equity lens issue. I love that that's part of what this upcoming meeting is going to be about, and that is something that is unique. The other thing is that when we've talked about every single committee having a climate lens as well, so maybe when we come up with the mission statement, we can coordinate something along those lines.
Well, what we're talking
Yeah.
about in that regard is, and this would be, you know, something, again, committee work,
Yeah,
is that we, meaning members of the committee, will interview the chair of each committee and find out what is that committee working on? And of what they're working on, how does climate fit into what they're doing? And then we would do a customized presentation to that committee
yeah.
about how climate change ties into whatever it is they're working on. But our first step would be to learn what are they working on
Right.
and not make assumptions.
We'll probably find that it's everything.
Yeah,
I think as a committee chair, I would really appreciate that, because I know that climate change, I've heard that angle on elections, but
Yeah.
honestly, because I'm not as well versed in all that, I'd have to look up the articles about it, but I know that there are people working on it, and I love this climate lens. That's golden for
Yeah.
sure. Keep that idea. And I think that could definitely be something that the league could do, and to look at different topics and look at different things you can do. And you know what? That's two things. One, you're helping people, give them ideas on how to think about it and what to do. But it also brings up that it's all around us, right?
Right.
That you can look at a lens means you could look at everything through it. So I think those are
Really
great.
wide lens.
yeah.
Yes, a very wide lens, like right on your glasses.
So that's under our committee work list
But,
things to do. But I didn't want to overwhelm you all with too much today. So
I love that.
next month's discussion.
Sure.
Okay. All right,
Okay.
everybody, it's 12:27. Linda, hang on for a few minutes.
Yeah.
And we will stop the recording, and Linda, well, I'll do it. I'm going to save the chat just in case there's something in there we want to look at. Okay.
Robin, can you stay on for just a sec? I just need to.
Sure. Sure. And Annie, I'll see you at 3 at the Civic Center.
That's right.
Yes.
There's an election in March.
Oh, dear.
Incidentally.
Most of you aren't voting, but
Okay. So who's, Linda and I have some things we wanted to talk about.
Can I just talk to Robin for just a sec?
Yeah, sure.
Sure.
Okay. Robin, we need to pull can we pull the donate button up to the top of the homepage?
it's not as easy as it sounds, because it's a different section, and I need to find that image. And I think that might be Scott, so I might have to ask him. But you want it to be on the upper part?
Yeah, so that when people come onto it, it's there. When the people come to the website, it's there.
I mean, it is there, but it's not on the very top. But you want, oh, you know what? There's no donate like in our main tabs. I just realized that like yesterday. I thought we used to have it, so I don't know what happened.
We did too.
You know what? I think Scott took that off because the Ed Fund was finished, and he always sees it through the Ed Fund lens. I'm like, no, they can give money to us anytime. So, okay, I will remind him about that.
Reactivate that for the Ed Fund. So.
Okay, well, I'll talk to Scott because he really handles all that, but I'll have him talk to you about that too.
Okay, goodbye.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Thanks for letting